if they come legally and produce a passport and documents, that our authorities, our border control, know exactly who these people are, where they're from, and any activities, illegal activities they may be involved in the past. Do you think that may be the reason?
I don't have this information.
So you do have this information. Why can't they do that?
Well, I can't suppose why they do that. Well, I don't have any answer for
Why not? Why don't you have an answer for that?
Because I don't know people that are coming legally apply for asylum.
£28 for a legal flight or thousands for a dangerous illegal journey? That's the question Lee Anderson fired at the Albanian ambassador, leaving him stammering for answers. This confrontation exposes the uncomfortable truth about illegal migration that politicians don't want to talk about. In this explosive exchange, Anderson doesn't just ask questions, he demands accountability for why migrants bypass affordable legal routes. Watch as the ambassador squirms, unable to explain why so many choose the perilous channel crossing when a budget airline ticket is available for less than the price of a night out in London.
Could you explain to me, why do you think people are paying up to £5,000 to get here illegally rather than pay 28 quid on a Wizz Air flight from Albania?
It's exactly what I have asked just from the beginning, because they don't have the possibility to apply for legal migration. That's the problem.
Why can't they visit the country for £28, travel on a plane for £28, come, i.e. on a holiday, and then claim asylum? Why can't they do that?
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. When Lee Anderson confronted the Albanian ambassador in that now viral exchange, he deployed a devastatingly simple tactic that left the diplomat visibly uncomfortable. Anderson laid bare a financial paradox that cuts to the heart of the migration debate. Why would anyone pay criminal gangs £5,000 for a dangerous channel crossing when they could simply board a commercial flight for a mere £28? This wasn't just a rhetorical flourish. It was a calculated move to expose what many have long suspected.
It's my theory that people come in and paying thousands of pounds to get here illegally, making a perilous journey, that probably quite a high proportion of those are going to be involved in some sort of criminal activity when they get here. Would you think that's correct? Well, you don't know very much, do you, Ambassador? I'll give you another question. Is it fair for the British taxpayer to spend millions and millions of pounds putting up Albanians who've come from a safe country in hotels?
The answer is that no one came here to be involved in criminal activity, because in general they know what happened if you are involved in criminal activity.
About illegal migration patterns, the beauty of Anderson's approach was its accessibility. By framing the issue in purely economic terms, comparing the cost of a legal flight to the exorbitant fees charged by people smugglers, he created an immediate cognitive dissonance that even casual observers could grasp. A £28 plane ticket versus £5,000 paid to criminals. The contrast is so stark that it demands explanation, yet the ambassador found himself unable to provide one that made logical sense. As the exchange unfolded, the diplomat's responses became increasingly evasive. Each attempt to sidestep Anderson's straightforward economic question only strengthened the central thesis. If migrants are truly seeking better economic opportunities, why would they choose the most financially ruinous option? It's like watching someone insist they're trying to save money while deliberately shopping at the most expensive store in town and ignoring the discount outlet next door. The confrontation transcended party politics. Anderson wasn't pushing ideology, he was demanding basic mathematical coherence. When someone willingly pays 178 times more for a dangerous illegal journey than the cost of a safe, legal flight, something simply doesn't add up. The ambassador's inability to reconcile this discrepancy spoke volumes about the uncomfortable realities that many political figures prefer to leave unexamined. What makes Anderson's questioning particularly effective is how it shifts the immigration narrative. The prevailing explanation for migration has centred around economic necessity.
Well, you don't know very much, do you, Ambassador? I'll give you another question. Is it fair for the British taxpayer to spend millions and millions of pounds putting up Albanians who've come from a safe country in hotels?
I don't have this information.
So you do have this information. Why can't they do that?
Well, I can't suppose why they do that.
Why can't they visit the country for £28, travel on a plane for £28, come, i.e. on a holiday, and then claim asylum? Why can't they do that?
People fleeing poverty in search of opportunity. Yet Anderson's price comparison creates a gaping hole in that storyline. If economic advancement were truly the sole motivation, surely these migrants would opt for the most cost-effective legal route, rather than emptying their life savings into the hands of criminal enterprises. This leads to the unsettling implication that Anderson carefully laid out. Those choosing illegal routes might have reasons beyond economic opportunity, reasons that involve avoiding the scrutiny that comes with legal entry channels. As Anderson pointedly suggested, people might be attempting to conceal something more sinister by circumventing border controls that would flag criminal histories or connections to organised crime. The ambassador's reaction to this line of questioning was telling. Rather than addressing the central economic paradox, he retreated into diplomatic generalities, a tacit admission that there was no reasonable explanation that wouldn't open uncomfortable doors. This is precisely the kind of evasion that frustrates ordinary citizens who see obvious problems being ignored by those in positions of power. Anderson's persistence transformed what began as a simple price comparison into something far more damning, a comprehensive indictment of the entire migration system and the political establishment that maintains it. His questioning technique demonstrated the massive disconnect between everyday citizens' common-sense observations and the political elite's refusal to acknowledge glaring inconsistencies in their policies and narratives. The exchange exemplifies why Anderson has become such a polarising, yet increasingly influential voice in British politics. He articulates concerns that many voters have long held but rarely hear expressed in official settings. The frustration of watching political figures dance around obvious contradictions finds release in Anderson's blunt, uncompromising approach. What's particularly striking about this confrontation is how it exposed the fragility of the standard immigration narrative. With just one simple economic comparison, £28 versus £5,000, Anderson undermined years of carefully constructed explanations about migration patterns. No amount of diplomatic language could obscure the logical gap he had identified, and the ambassador's inability to bridge it spoke volumes. The implication that illegal entrants might be concealing criminal backgrounds strikes at another sensitive aspect of the immigration debate. It challenges the predominant framing of all migrants as vulnerable individuals seeking refuge, and suggests a more complex reality, where some may indeed be exploiting the system's weaknesses for nefarious purposes. This isn't about demonising migrants as a whole, but rather questioning why some choose dramatically more expensive illegal routes when affordable legal options exist. What we're witnessing in Anderson's confrontation is a rare moment of political clarity that's resonating across Britain. His challenge to the Albanian ambassador represents millions of voters who feel their legitimate concerns about border security have been brushed aside by a political establishment more concerned with appearing compassionate than protecting national interests. The uncomfortable silence that followed Anderson's simple economic question speaks volumes. It's this growing divide between everyday Britons and Westminster elites that's fueling support for straight-talking figures willing to address what many consider obvious: that unchecked migration threatens both security and sovereignty. For too long, legitimate questions about immigration control have been suppressed under accusations of xenophobia. Anderson's intervention signals that those days may be ending.